Hi everyone. I thought you might like to see how I made this LED lit snow globe silhouette, which I'm calling winter moonlight because the blue vellum enables the soft light to shine through at a window during the day and with the LED lights at night. I made it in exactly the same way as the one in my first video, so the basics are covered there, but I'll show you how I did the main decoration. I took my 9cm and 7cm circle dies and cut out 4 pieces of card. I took my 8cm die and cut out 2 circles of vellum. I took my 9cm circle die and my 7cm D-shape die and cut out 2 circles with a D shape in the middle so I could hide the LEDs at the bottom. I used various dies. These are just some of them that I cut little bits out of. I've listed all of them on my blog, so if you want to know exactly what I used for everything, you'll find the full list there. But basically I enjoyed myself snipping little bits here and there and working out how I could construct my scenes. And once again I did a mock-up, so taking the circles that I cut out earlier with the vellum as the background, the D-shaped one on top, I then was going to have on one side the leaping deer coming off that piece of card, and then for the outer rim of that side I was going to have the bare branches of the tree attached to the outer white circle and covered by the fourth one, which enables me to strengthen the card. On the other side, taking the scene using the mountains, and I leave a little gap of blue vellum at the bottom because it gives the impression of a lake. And then for the outer rim I am using the cutout church with a bit of scenery around, sticking that in place to the rim and then covering it once more with the outer one to strengthen it. Any trimming can be done when it's stuck. So here we have the stuck pieces, and I am going to trim off the excess close to the circle without changing the shape, and I will of course be sticking the rim on top of it to strengthen it. The same will happen with the church, which I am once more going to trim close to that circle but not actually cutting the circle, and then I will strengthen it again. Once I've done that, the blue vellum will be stuck on the back pieces and everything will then be ready to construct. The final bit I've got to do is to cut a straight edge on the bottom so that I can actually stick it onto my base box which holds the LED lights, and I am measuring them on that guillotine to make sure they are all the same height so they work exactly. Once I've done that, then I can construct my decoration, but I have to stick it to my circular box, which I did in exactly the same way as the first video, except I used blue vellum to line the inner bit where I'd punched out holes so the light could shine through when the LEDs were there. I scored 3x4 card at 1cm from the edge, and I'm going to fold along the score line, but first I'm just trimming the card so that I can slot it through little slits that I will cut on the top of that base box near the central circle that I've already made with a probe, which I will feed my LED lights through. This is a mock-up just showing how I make the frame, and before slicing through that box and either side of that little circle or the little hole, and the card just slips through very easily. The card that is folded will stick up, and then I can turn that base box over, and using PVA glue I am just sticking it very firmly in place, and it gives a rigid structure to which to attach my decoration. I'm now looking at my wooden base of my glass globe, and I'm checking my LED lights, which I'm going to feed through the hole that my husband kindly drilled in the middle of the wooden base for me, and making sure that that is fine. I will of course attach the base box this time, but first I'm just showing you how I fix my batteries. I use 1.6mm Velcro dots, self-adhesive, and I stick one side to the wooden base and the other dots to the battery pack, and they hold very firmly in place. No problems with actually switching the lights on, and yet they're easy to take that battery pack off when you want to change the battery. So checking again, the LED lights are fine, and now turn my attention to my central decoration, where I want 3 or 4 and 4 or 5 actually in fact of those LEDs going around the outer rim only, underneath the white card, because the blue vellum is translucent, and I will also put a couple of the LEDs right at the bottom where that D shape hides their presence, and I use my 0.5 square little sticky foam pads to attach them. Once I've done that, then I pull the remaining LED lights back into that box, and I keep them on so I can see what's happening before sticking that box very firmly with PVA glue to the wooden base. So I've left enough lead out to enable the battery pack to be moved, but the rest is all inside that white circular box. And I normally use elastic bands to hold it in place while the glue is drying, so it makes a very firm seal. Once I've allowed the glue to dry and I've stuck my inner bits of my central decoration to the card frames, I can turn my attention to the outer frames, and using the sticky foam pads again, I position them carefully in front of their respective scenes. So I've just put the tree in front of the deer, and now I will put the church in front of the lake. Once I've done that, what's left to do is to cut a 2 centimetre, and in this case the length of the hood that I want to cover the dome, which is 25 centimetres, line it with a centimetre of sticky back plastic so the workings don't show through when it's lit, and stick it on with PVA glue, and that gives a very neat finish to my central decoration. I'm now turning my attention to decorating the ground, i.e. the top of the circular box, and I'm using my trusty unbranded set of 3 Christmas tree dies, using the circle to make sure that when I cut it out, that it lines up nicely on the edge of the box, and I form a sort of crazy paving effect to give the ground, and also block off the underside showing through of the box when the lights are on. Now I'm adding decoration. This is a freestanding bare branch tree, and because it's self-supporting, it's needing just a little bit. I use tiny bits of foil just to hold it in place while it actually sets. And then the PVA holds it firmly. For the other side, I've got a broader base, and I'm able to stick it both to the ground and a little bit on the central decoration, so no foil supports needed. I've turned the LED lights on so you can see the silhouette effect, and I'm fiddling with my tree, which despite the foil is wanting to go over, but once I've done that, I can turn my attention to the final piece. I'm keeping it quite simple to make the silhouette effective, and I've got my deer, which is going to have his feet in PVA glue, which I very carefully attached to the absolute outer edge of the circular box, so he looks as if he's walking on the ground, and I think that makes a nice effect. Now, turning my attention to the lake, I'm going to be doing a similar thing, and this time I've got a slightly bigger church than the one in the central decoration at the back, so it gives a sense of perspective, and I'm sticking it both to the back decoration and the ground, so once again no bits of foil needed to support it. So I'm just carefully positioning it at an angle, and once I'm happy with its position, then I turn my attention to the other side where I'm putting another bare branched tree, which I'm also attaching to the central decoration and the ground, so no foil required there either. Finally, I am going to be using an edge-lit die cut, which I've trimmed, and it's got a couple of little children tobogganing down a slope with a couple of trees. There are buildings on the actual die, but this is just a section of it, and I'm sticking it in place around the outer edge of the circular box using PVA glue and a bit of pressure because it's straight card and it's a circular edge, but it doesn't take too long before it adheres and it's stuck firmly in place. So that completes my scene decoration, but I'd still want to decorate the box a bit. So I've got some swirly edge dies here, which I have to be careful not to trap in each other. And each one is half the circumference of the box. So I've cut out 4 so I can do a full decoration all the way around the box, top and bottom, and I'm just dabbing on some PVA glue before adhering it in place just underneath the tobogganing children and round that edge, and I think it gives really quite a neat finish. I'm just fiddling around getting it in the right position, moving it very slightly until I'm happy with both its effect and its place of sticking. So then the only thing left for me to do is I want to decorate the hood, and I've cut out snowflakes from some of the dies that I took the trees from, and I am sticking them on the top and the sides of the hood. Now I'm only putting glue right in the middle, so then I can have a little bit of a 3D effect as the snowflakes stick up a bit, and I like that because again it gives a sense of depth to my Christmassy snow scene. So I'm using the snowflakes, graduating them down in size round the hood, trying to match pretty well them on either side. So once that's done, then the only thing that's going to be left for me to do after it's dry is to put the glass dome over the top, and that I stick to the wooden base using a bit of super glue, and that keeps it quite firm and safe, and of course protects the fragile paper cut. I hope you enjoy the end result. This is the lake with the church and the children tobogganing, and then on the other side I've got the deer and the almost the northern lights effect of the LEDs through the blue vellum. And I hope it inspires you to try something similar yourself. Thank you for watching.